Okay, welcome to the United Pubcast. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you're watching on repeat, this was supposed to be an episode with Mark Bosnich, but as you can imagine, Bos is quite a busy man, so he will be joining us tomorrow. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, and that podcast definitely isn't going anywhere. If you do have time, though, in the meantime, for over the next 24 hours, if you haven't listened to our podcast we did earlier with Mark Bosnich, it's on our audio platform, so SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, etc. Scroll back to episode 50. Larry and I sat down at the pub, obviously before COVID was a thing, so a few months before COVID was a thing. We sat down with Bozza and sort of went through his time at the club and his story, and it was a fascinating story, some great stories. My favourite one was especially that night in Turin where Man United beat Juventus. Bozza was flying into Turin to sign with Juventus on the night. And when he left England, United were 2-0 down. When he got off the plane in Turin, United had won 3-2. So in the meantime, go back and listen to that episode we did with Bozza, episode 50. That is in our podcast apps. But as you can see, Rob is with us because we're sending a search party out for Larry. Not quite sure where he is. The last I heard from him, he was celebrating a PS5 purchase earlier in the day. So congratulations to Larry. I was lucky enough to get one also. But not sure where Larry is. So hope all is well, mate. There's a few comments in here. Josh as well, evening, mate. And George as well. Good to have a nice background, Rob, the 10-11 shirt. That is one of my favourite United kits, I think, in recent times. It was just the collar wasn't perfect, but it was a good collar. It was white. It was enough to put up, and it was a little bit flimsy, though, but I do like a collar on the shirt. What else we got? It was a few things I was going to mention. So a few things we're going to mention in regards to sort of the Jadon Sancho stuff. He's obviously finally in training. Edison Cavani, where the hell is he? Is he in quarantine or not? Rafael Varane, and we'll just sort of bounce a few ideas. If anyone has any comments in the live chat, throw them in there and we'll sort of just bounce off your ideas. So maybe just a quick 15, 20-minute video to get us through another night of lockdown. But yeah, and if you are watching live, please do like the video. We'll be very grateful for that. But we'll get into it, Rob. Jadon Sancho, just want to have a discussion because it was sort of thrown out on Twitter and everyone was sort of dismissing it. I have a slight feeling Solskjaer is going to play him from the start. And the reason I fully understand the arguments which we'll get into. However, he's going to have a week of training. And I just think the quality he does bring over some of the sort of limitations we do have in the final third at the moment. It is a balancing act. But I just have a feeling after a week of training, and you look at Bruno had a week of training, he went into the game against, who did we play? Everton. Again, pre-season game, I understand that's different. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. Just your thoughts on the current, first of all, actually seeing Jadon Sancho train, but also leading into the week and feelings that he potentially could start.
Well, yeah, man, feelings are super happy, man. It was just before this, I was on Instagram and I was looking, he had a little video we posted up like saying can't wait for the new season, and he had it kind of when he was on his holidays and training and he's all pumped up to return, and I was just like, I commented on it, I just can't wait to see this baller, man, because that's what he is. Like I said, I did watch quite a lot of him at Dortmund, and it excites me that he's finally here, and we've all been waiting to see those training photos that we finally got yesterday. And I do agree with you, Tom. I have a sneaky suspicion that he could sneak into that starting 11. Like I said, he's an elite athlete, and it was only 4 weeks that was the end of the Euros. He didn't get to play much, so he should be quite fresh. And even on holidays, these guys are still training and keeping their bodies in good shape, man. So, a week in the team, like to get ready for a match, like I know he hasn't had an actual preseason game, but I reckon he could get up to scratch quite quickly. And yeah, it would not surprise me if he's going to start on either side of on the wing on Saturday against Leeds.
Yeah, no, definitely. Justin here from the Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney. Sancho has a great touch of the football on that training video. He'll play. And I just think, where does that balance come into? He definitely won't be match fit, and that's a given. Okay, you need matches to do that, and he obviously didn't get that through the Euros, and he has had a little bit of a break. But he will be fit. Match fitness is a different thing. I just think, where is that balance though? Let's say, and I don't want to throw Dan James under the bus. Let's just say Jadon Sancho and Dan James. You've got a fully match fit Dan James. Even he won't be fully match fit, but let's say he is, and a non-match fit Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Jadon Sancho has the quality, but in the first game of the season, where it is sort of end-to-end, especially against an opposition like Leeds, how do you find that balance of, it is a risk. Like I'm saying, he played Jadon Sancho, but that's mainly just my being a fan and being excited. I understand there's sort of risks and sort of the reasons why Solskjaer wouldn't do it. But if you're the manager, how do you weigh up the pros and cons of, well, he does have the quality, but he just won't be fit compared to someone like Dan James who could go for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's hard. Look, I guess it just comes down to how he does train for this next 5 days because, Dean James, I think he went into the knockout stage maybe early on in the Euros, and he was one of the players that played every game. So, yes, he's had a bit of a preseason, but if you're looking at quality and, like I said, keeping up to scratch with stuff, I think it will be up to a last-minute decision from Solskjaer to say, hey, he's got up to scratch. He might have 60 minutes in the legs, and then you can bring on maybe a Dean James against a Leeds or something. I think there's a higher chance of that happening instead of a Dean James starting and swapping it for. I think it'll put that little bit extra pressure on a Sancho coming off the bench, especially if we need something, saying, hey, here's our big signing. We need him to score a goal, or make an effect quite quickly. I'd rather give him 60 minutes if he can, shot off the bat, and then if he has to come off and someone else like a Dean James come replace him for a bit of a spark.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think one of the things which I don't know what sort of got me in the mood. I was just maybe watching a YouTube video or something, and sort of some goals popped up, which sort of get you sort of remembering some of the goals of sort of past seasons. And one was sort of debut goals. I'm just thinking that Solskjaer does like sort of these little bit of stories. He's mentioned it in terms of players playing against ex-clubs and everything. And I just think Old Trafford and Manchester United, they do like a debut. And I just think that might be something that plays on Solskjaer's mind. Think, okay, he's not wearing the 7 shirt, Jadon Sancho, but he is a new sign and the fans will love him, especially that first game. That might just be, forget match fitness, just that adrenaline, just that atmosphere. Not only fans being back in the ground for Leeds United, but fans being back in the ground against Leeds with a new huge signing. I just think that adrenaline, that buzz could be enough to sort of make up for the lack of match fitness. Do you think Solskjaer is thinking along the lines of the story that comes along with it?
Yeah, why not as well? Like, the theatre of dreams is waiting for someone like him, as he said. And not just that, put yourself in Jadon Sancho's shoes. He'd be thinking to himself, hey, like, big game, I'm the big player. He'd be keen as, man. I'm a Man United player now. I want to come in and I want to show the crowd. I'd love to get an assist or a goal in a big game such this. First game of the season, possibly Stretford End or something like that. He'd love that, man. And what an appearance, like you said, that would be. So, yeah, I definitely think he's in with a shot.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, George here from the Supporters Club as well says Bailey and Ahmad will have sore backs when they're back in training after sleeping on cardboard beds for the 2 weeks during the Olympics. And I've seen no idea what the Olympic Village was like, but well, before we'll just touch on the Olympics at the moment in regards to Bailey and Ahmad coming back. It has gone quiet in regards to Ahmad on loan. Bailey, there's no smoke there, so at the moment he's going to come back. But I just think in regards to, okay, they're on their way back. We've not criticised, but we've highlighted the issue with Paul Pogba and his sort of so-called late return to pre-season training. And we'll sort of question this and that about him, but he's back and he's playing and he's training. Edison Cavani. We all love Edison Cavani. We're full of praise for him. Fred went all the way in the Copa America, went to the final, he's come back, he's played a game, he's in training. Edison Cavani didn't make the final. No one knows where he is. Is he in Manchester? Is he in Uruguay? Is he in Dubai? No one knows where he's obviously training. He's posting his videos and fair play. But I just want your angle, sort of 2 opinions of it. One, why are we treating Edison? Is there a reason we're treating Edison Cavani different to Paul Pogba? Because it's a very similar situation. And also, just what do you think will happen? Because at the moment, there's no real story or news about what the latest is. We know Varane's in quarantine. We know Sancho's back. We know Bailly and Ahmad were at the Olympics. But Edison Cavani is sort of the missing man at the moment. And at the moment, we don't have a striker.
Look, the only thing I can think of is it's a valid reason, and the only thing I can think of is has to be family related. Like, I'm not sure if it's going to be the same setup as last year, but I'm sure when we did purchase him last year, he didn't come without his family possibly. So the only thing I can think of is he's only going to be traveling back for the season, possibly leaving his family behind again, and he's just trying to get every last second with him. That's the only thing I can think about. Because it was like I said a couple of days ago, I was tagging you guys in post saying, where is he? Where is he? And then we finally seen like the videos he has been training, and he does look in good shape. But yeah, I'm sure I only read a day ago that he's still in Uruguay. And then, like I said, when he does come back, no one seems to know what these quarantine laws are. So we might be missing him for 2-3 weeks or 2-3 games. So that's the scary thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, George just said he saw a video of Cavani training, could have been on Instagram, and he will be ready. I just think, well, fitness-wise, we've discussed match fitness and non-match fitness. Yeah, he does look in good shape, and I'm sure he is keeping himself in sort of tip-top condition. But his issue will be that quarantine, and when he's come back, he's obviously not in Manchester, or he would be at the training ground. or he'd be at home in Manchester. He's definitely not there. So, yeah, as I say, even if he is fit, it might be a while before we do see him. I just want to sort of go back to the almost forgotten man. We're going to get an official photo sometime this week in Rafael Varane, and it'll feel like a new signing, even though we signed him for maybe 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Feels a while ago now. We've said Jadon Sancho will have a week of training, and we can see a scenario where he starts. Rafael Varane at some stage will train this week, say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He'll get 2 trainings in, you'd think, before the game, hopefully. We're just discussing off air, though. You don't think that'll be enough, and maybe we'll sort of weigh up the pros and cons with Sancho. You're thinking, well, maybe it is the right decision with Rafael Varane. Just forget this Leeds game, forget even the bench. Just get a proper week of training and be ready for the second game of the season.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to be going. From what I've read, I think he's due in Manchester Wednesday. Oh, he's in Manchester, but I think he's due at Carrington at Wednesday or Thursday. Do his medical. He's obviously got to have all the media. We've got to officially announce him. We've got to register him in time. I still don't, like I said, all the paperwork's got to be done, which I do think will be done before the Leeds game. But like you just said, I think just leave him. What's the point of having him on the bench? Like, how often, touch wood, no injuries happen, but how often do you need to bring on a centre back in the game? I think we're well covered. Harry Maguire and Lindelof looked good last week, and I'm sure we're going to have, well, to be honest, Axel's on loan now, so I don't know who'll be the cover on the bench, but yeah, I think this week we won't see him on the team sheet, but yeah, hopefully same thing from him. Like, if he does get 2 days before, and then he's got the week, he should be ready for hopefully game 2.
Just before I move on, just a name you mentioned there, which has sort of reminded me, Axel Tuanzebe. What do you think of that? Because I think we all like Axel Tuanzebe. We see a potential future for him if he does kick on and develop, but we also say, well, he's not quite getting the game time, but he's best to move out on loan. But if he goes on another loan, is that the end of his time at United? But it's a hard one because he signed a new contract. So when we're looking at, let's say we want to loan Jesse Lingard or sell Lingard, if he's on a loan, it's a loan with with a look to get him out of the club. If Pereira leaves on loan, it's a loan but look to get him out of the club. With Tuanzebe, it's a loan, but they're committing themselves with a contract. Just your thoughts on it? Doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does. I just think it's just a bad situation where it's the best case scenario for me.
That's the United way, mate. Always putting ourselves in a weird situation. But look, I think it's another good move for him because, like I said, he's not going to get game time. I'm pretty sure as soon as we signed Varane, Ollie came out and said, yeah, we're looking straight away for him to go on loan. And for himself, he wants to go on loan just to get the minutes under the belt. But yeah, it's weird. Like the way, obviously, we just bought Varane. We've got Harry there. Lindelof is there. Bailey's still on the books. I still think we've got quite a few players in that position, good depth. So, like I said, for me, it would be more, I think, not that he's had an opportunity, but like I said, when you keep seeing players continually go loan, or not get game time, for me, like I said, it is hard. He just signed a contract. But yeah, for me, it's just to add the value kind of thing. Like, he could have the potential. Someone might say, like, so we don't get in a situation with Pogba, how he winds down his contract and goes for nothing at the end of the day. So if he does have a good season with Villa, it could raise a bit of money or put some extra dollars in our pocket. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, it's a hard one. Look, I think that is the good. From a business side of thing, it is important to have a young English player like that tied down to a contract. But I just think in terms of what Josh is saying here, Villa is a great move for him in terms of getting some consistent game time. And I just think, let's say with a future to Tuanzebe, he's going to have a career at United. I think the best case for him, because sometimes when a player does go on loan, they can get sort of lost in the system and just sort of fade away quietly, and you almost forget they're your player. But with Tuanzebe, if we do want a future for him at United, I think the best case scenario, or not even best case, the only scenario which really gives him a future at United, considering we have Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire, he needs to go and almost be Aston Villa's best player. Aston Villa need to have a good season. He needs to have it play first name on the team sheet. He needs to be their main man at the back, have a good season, and United be able to offload a Phil Jones, Eric Bailly, even a Victor Lindelof maybe. They need to sell a defender because at the moment, if Tuanzebe has a good season and nothing else happens at United, well, he's just going to find himself in the same scenario. So I just think if you're to rate out of 10 his chances of maybe in the short term next season, but also just overall of having a future at United after this loan to Villa, how do you rate it?
4, if I'm being honest, man. I don't see it happening. I don't see. Yeah, he might be hanging around the club if he doesn't go out or someone doesn't purchase him, but I don't see him breaking into the squad. Not with the quality that we have and the depth we have. You said Phil Jones, he's still on the books. I forgot him again. But not just that. Surely when players do go out on loan, there has to be something in their clause like yes, he should be going and getting quite a few minutes. Like, does he go straight into the Villa team? I know they've got Tyrone Mings, but does he partner him, or is they going to be used for like
Well,
cup
Aston Villa,
games? Like,
they definitely like Twinsay because he had that successful loan there in the Championship, so they definitely do like him. So it will be very interesting. It will definitely give us a new set of eyes on Aston Villa. You'll definitely be tuning into them
yeah,
on the
definitely.
first day of the season. I don't know who they have. Now, just before we wrap up, just a comment here from George who said thoughts on Martial and what will happen with him. Will we have to replace him? And the only reason I sort of bring that up, and thanks, George, for the comment, is we've discussed Martial to death over the last 2-3 weeks. But in the last 24 hours, since Lukaku's moved to Chelsea, I don't even know if that's been confirmed, but Lukaku's going to Chelsea. The news has come out that Inter Milan are looking to do a deal with Martial, whether that be a loan with an obligation to buy, or I assume if United want to do business with Martial, it would be a look to sell him because he is a valuable asset. But just your thoughts on the news with Inter Milan popping their head up for Martial?
Look, I'm not going to be the negative person, but speak of the devil, I was listening to Fabrizio's Here We Go kind of podcast today that just came out, and they actually bring up like the United section and the Anthony Martial Inter Milan's links come up, and look, he thinks that it's nothing. He thinks it's pretty much going to be fake news. And the thing that's scaring people away is that if United do want to get rid of him, they want 50 million, and at the moment there's not a lot of people that are going to jump at 50 million for Martial. He is a great player, but yeah, like we've heard in a couple of weeks ago, I think it was Tottenham that could have been linked to him. Now Inter's popped up. Yeah, no, I think from what he said, he's like third or fourth in the pecking order behind like Zapata and a few other players. So yeah, I don't believe it. I think he'll definitely be with us this season.
Yeah, look, it's a hard one. I think, look, it's a bit of an easy link, especially he does look, especially amongst the fans and media on the outer at Old Trafford. But I think in Solskjaer's eyes, especially with Cavani, sort of whereabouts unknown, he said, I have a very good feeling Anthony Martial will start at centre forward against Leeds. So, yeah, a bit of a lazy story, but there obviously is something in it because if United can sell someone, he is a player who, as you say, if they've put a 50 million price tag on him, if someone does pay 50 million, United
would snap their hands off, I think. Yeah.
Well, they have to. They have to because the amount of money we do spend over the years, you do need to refund, sort of recoup some of that. But just before we wrap up, just saw on Twitter earlier, we can't go on the computer without seeing Lionel Messi and everything the latest about him. So we discussed it the other day. We don't want to go too deep into it. We just want your opinion and get your comments. And if you're in the live chat, just your opinion, because they had the Jack Grealish sort of unveiling at Manchester City, and I thought that was extremely embarrassing. I don't feel sorry for Grealish because he's earning a lot of money, but you do feel a bit for him. He's in front of 20 or 30 people sort of at Manchester City and doing a wave sort of thing. But besides the bantering aspect of that, I did find that quite sad for Grealish. But on the Messi, I'll just get your thoughts. That press conference where he had the tearful sort of goodbye, etc. Just your thoughts, because I'm sure it's an emotional time for Lionel Messi. Like 100%, Barcelona has been his life. I'm sure he's emotional. He's fully sort of committed. Like he's spent his life at Barcelona, and it's a big move to PSG. 100%. Those tears, though, for me, and call me a cynic, that's completely disagree with me.
Crocodile tears or what?
Does anyone remember a year ago him trying to force his way to Manchester City and pretty much trying to take Barcelona to court to get out of the club? So I can understand it's an emotional time for Messi. I fully agree with that. But these tears, I just think, calm down. You were forcing your way for more money to Manchester City last year. I think you're not going to lose any sleep over going to PSG. So just your thoughts on sort of the latest. We haven't signed yet for PSG. Who knows? But the latest on Messi.
Oh, he will. But yeah, like I said, man, when it all broke, I think it was 1 or 2 nights ago, like that, even my missus, she was on social media and she was watching it and she was like, had a tear in her eye. She goes, oh, how sad is this and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, doesn't really bother me. I said, they're a bit of crocodile tears for me. And she goes, how can you say that? I'm like, look, I generally do think he's sad for leaving. Like when you leave, think of being at a job for 20 plus years of your life. It literally is. You could nearly call Barcelona FC, Messi FC. They took him in as an 11-year-old, signed him. By 13, he was in the academy, and like I said, he's pretty much been there and done everything while he's there. But like I said, the money, especially in the last probably 10, 15 years, has been more than accounting and had set him up. I think someone said he's worth 800 million or something like that. So yeah, he's definitely. Even if he did take a pay cut, I still think he would have been on massive dollars. So if he really loved the club that much, I'm sure he could have worked out something money-wise to help him out a little bit more. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be lapping up those tears with $100 bills when he goes to PSG. So yeah, I can see it.
We're discussing in our group chat, we're thinking, is there a possibility we get PSG in our Champions League group? But you said we're in the same pots.
Yeah,
So
should be
we
right.
can't
We
face
both
them.
came second, so yeah, I don't think we'll be
I
facing
think
them. Thank God.
it's hard to believe PSG came second in their French league. But I think if PSG don't win the Champions League this year, they should get French football should get a 5-year ban from Europe. I just think if they don't
100%.
win it with that front three, it's amazing. But Josh, just before we wrap up, commented, just logged on to Twitter and in the past 10 minutes seen the links to Paris United, Paris again, and back to Barca. And the Barca one, even ESPN, who broke the story that PSG was confirmed, now they've backflipped and said Barcelona are back still in the race, which
Surely not. After all this, surely not.
It's not, but look, what a story that would be. That would be an amazing story.
Have you seen the Paris fans like waiting outside the airport, like thinking that he's going to arrive? Then they're like, the plane hasn't even like Fabrizio Romano is tweeting, the plane hasn't even left yet. They've already got like I said, considering that Jack Grealish had 30 people today, they've got like 20,000 people waiting at the front of the airport waiting for Messi to come. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. But just about wraps us up. So thank you very much for the substitute appearance. Rob filling in for Larry. He's probably outside the EB game shop waiting it opens to collect his PlayStation 5. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in, whether delayed or live. If you are still watching, please leave a like on the video. And just a reminder that we've got Mark Bosnich on the podcast tomorrow. So we'll almost go through the squad, sort of strengths, weaknesses, and someone looking forward to Leeds. If anyone's old enough to remember Mark Bosnich's performance against Leeds in 99-2000 was a special performance. So get his thoughts on that. And obviously someone who's shared a dressing room with Solskjaer. So to get his thoughts and memories of sort of winning the title with Solskjaer and just sort of his thoughts on the season ahead. Elliot, just before we wrap up, Elliot's comment here, better late than never. You're really late, Elliot, so I'll go back and enjoy the start of the video because we are just about to head off. But a reminder to everyone, please leave a like on the video and we will chat to you. Larry and I will both be on tomorrow, fingers crossed, obviously with the only Australian to ever play for United and win the title with United, and Mr. Mark Bosnich. So we'll chat to you all then. Have a good one.